And I definitely forgot a whole bunch of stuff. And yeah, Canada's just a confused country between the US and Europe, but we don't have suppliers for millimetric coolant hose here, okay? So those coolant couplers at the back, I ordered them from Audi because they are not much more expensive. But on the Volvo, they'll tell you, yeah, it'll fit, and it'll work. You can use a similar something eighths piece of hose, but I don't want to do that on this car. So just order the coupler hose joints straight from the dealer. Greetings, RS4 viewers. So the viewership is down on the channel for this car, but I really don't care. This is the style I've done since I started. It might change in the future, but let me dig into a few things we'll just discuss before I start tearing things down here a bit more. So I'll still do that legit street cars part 2 video of the things that went on with that RS4. But while we're here, I want to talk about why I'm not changing the factory PCV. This could be good or bad. I'm not sure. When we get a second one, we'll probably tear into this one. But the main thing with the PCV box, the one on this car is actually pretty well designed, okay? The 2.0 T ones are bad, but I don't even want to talk about 2.0 Ts. So the main thing is, if this box is carboned up inside, yeah, I can have problems. But essentially all it is, you see here, it's just got a bunch of ports and it dumps into here the oil, the vapor that comes in, and then there's a line that takes it all down, back down, okay? And the vapors are recycled into the intake and they go through things, and they are a contributor of the carbon buildup. I still think valve overlap is a bigger deal with that, but my theories can be discussed more later. Now the main thing with this here is obviously you don't want that seal to be bad, okay? But really, if you put your finger in here, all right, this is why good quality oil, doing regular oil changes is important, because if you have really poor oil quality, you can have a higher chance of carbon building up inside of your PCV. And what happens on any car with a PCV after a while is it will blow another seal somewhere else, or it'll whistle or something. Every car has different symptoms, but the one on the RS4 is not known to be a bad design like a lot of other cars where they just can't get PCV design straight. Although the PCV is a stupid thing overall, but it's a part of modern vehicles, and even this is an old vehicle. But the thing you definitely need to check is the spring, okay? And you can access it with your finger. If it's carboned up or there's damage or something, you definitely want to change it. Because based on, this is my understanding, based on the RPM, okay, idling, full throttle, whatever, if you put your finger in there, on the side, there is another opening. That's probably what happens at idle. But then when you push in on it, okay, so you see inside there, okay, the light won't allow it, but that box piece on the side there takes in some of the PCV vapors. But that piece that looks like a dime back there that I barely have the light on, that I'm shifting over, that pushes in to a certain degree. You'll feel it bottom out and you'll feel it come back up, and when you look in there physically, you can see it completely seal again. You don't want that spring to be bad. That's one of the only mechanical components inside of this that can go wrong with it getting clogged up. Like Volvos, they're notorious for a lot of their parts on their PCV. Well, the PCV is not on this here, and I'd have to find it, but these clog on some of their lines too. Volvo PCVs aren't a very good design. So the Audi one, at least for the RS4s, is a decent design, okay? Now, I mean, we are going to take this off this time, and I'll have to get a small clamp for that line down there because I don't have the Oetiker clamp reinstall tool. Taking them off is easy, but I thought of running oil or something else through this just so we can see, but you really can't. And I think, and the one fortunate thing is RS4 part-wise, I think Euro still builds one, so we're probably not going to have a parts NLA issue with the PCV box. But I'm not changing it. I haven't changed it. The carbon buildup's the same. It's very average on my car, just like the same as any other RS4. And I mean, here's what we'll do later in the video. I'll get some light into the port so you guys can see the carbon, that it's not just the oilier ones at the front here, which that happens too. The carbon is not overly oiled. Or actually, you know what? I don't really care to do that. Oh, maybe I will. Okay. Let's talk about more important stuff here. Okay? So here, what you see is a heat sleeve that I have cut. Okay, that's the only way you can do it. The job that is associated with is the rear timing covers. So I reached back there and I looked with a mirror on the other one, and both of my rear timing covers are leaking oil about halfway down. Now, I try to, it's not even about the parts money, it's about the labor and how agonizing it is to do it with the engine in the car. Most shops would not do this in the car, and I'm pretty sure the dealer would say it's an engine out job. Okay? People on the forums have done this job. Okay, so I'm going to take you guys back here. All the SAI stuff has to be removed. I'm probably going to drain the coolant tank. Now, I'm saying this stuff because I'm not going to film it. It's virtually impossible to film. Doing the work is going to be hard enough. Now, I did a coolant reservoir change video recently. And yeah, if you don't want to jack up the car, which is in most cases, and you want to change the coolant reservoir, use that extraction method I showed. Because the coolant pipe underneath the car, okay, at the front, there is a drain plug. You guys have seen it before. The washer is not replaceable. Okay, I don't know if it's a crush washer or what it is, or if you could put something else, but it comes with that whole pipe, and every aluminum coolant pipe on this car is between $200 to, I think, like $2,500. Yes, there are ridiculous pieces of aluminum pipe on this car that are like $1,000, $1,500, $2,000. Doesn't even make a difference what price they are at this point. But that's the thing I'm trying to say here is, yeah, okay, the coolant reservoir, I'm just going to drain it from there. We're going to remove it completely. We're going to remove all those coolant lines at the back. Okay, this SAI line that comes all the way down here, there's more bolts to loosen it. I think there was some issue I came across with for fully removing it. Yeah, I don't want to fully remove it, but we're just going to loosen it until there's enough play, because it still is a bit stiff when you're going to be doing this timing cover at the back. Now, if I already mentioned it or not, I don't care if I repeat. Don't have time to edit this too much. I said, okay, you know what? I'll clean it up really good from the bottom, and I'll just put some RTV on the outside to have the car not leak, and it's a temporary fix, whatever, until we eventually have to do the engine out on this car. But reaching in there to clean and being able to apply any sealer on this bank proved almost nearly impossible when I tried to do that cheap man's fix. So I've ordered, okay, what else is there? So, oil and coolant mixing on these cars. There's a few different places it can happen. I've heard it can happen at the water pump, which I'm not sure of. I still think the water pump is just going to leak through the weep hole. I don't know if oil can get down that shaft into the bearing if the seal fails, but I think that's a lower one. Now, primary oil coolers, just like on that Volvo engine over there, the seal can fail. All right, that's just oil leak, which is what it would be now if it is coming from there. But using proper coolant and having the correct coolant, Audi coolant mixed, is very crucial, because the internals of the primary oil cooler, which is buried way under here, it can fail there too. Okay, internally, oil and coolant can mix. Now again, there's only one recent thread on this particular job, and there's no pictures, unfortunately. I don't know what kind of symptoms that person had. But a film of oil in your coolant tank or some other kind of internal mixing can be the seals at the back. So, if you guys can see it, alright, that water pipe right there that the PCV bypass, which I've done, that curls around both banks. I know that Mercedes, I think E55 engines and stuff, they have a rear coolant tube just like that, and the O-rings go bad all the time. It's a thing that's replaced on them, and I think it's engine out for most people on that car too. So this isn't something new on German style V8s, but there are two seals inside of an aluminum pipe that is attached to the inside of each of the rear timing covers, and they can be tough to get off. I'm hoping I'm able to do it smoothly, but I've ordered the seals there. And yeah, that's what's going on there. So seals inside the rear timing cover and the mini coolant tubes and the actual covers themselves. Okay? Now, before we get onto other important stuff, this oil patch stain that I have in the exact same spot, I still think is coming from the rear timing cover portion because of the way it had spread. It doesn't seem very active, and maybe somebody had tried to RTV it from the top before, but we are going to just do that because the cam girdle seals, I'm not dealing with that for now. Maybe I'll talk about it in another video. I don't think it's a cam girdle seal leak. Now see, on this side the design is a bit different because the engine, okay, even those rear coolant tubes, which I'm not changing, I'm changing the seals on them, one is slightly longer than the other, so you'd have to get both part numbers, okay, because of the way the engine sits. It's designed. I mean, the way the engine works, it's not completely symmetrical, okay? The valve covers are different, everything's different, that's just the way an engine is. It's a very basic explanation my brain can't tell you right now. Yeah, the pistons are staggered, whatever, okay? So, same oil stain in the same area as the one on that side. That also seems like it's coming from the upper timing cover. But on this one, because of the way it's designed, the cam girdle seal is bigger on this side. It literally comes all the way there, so it could be part of that seam. But the fact that on this side with the shorter cam girdle, okay, this is also the side with the shorter valve cover gasket, it doesn't touch the rear timing cover in that spot, which is why I still think my timing cover has two small leaks at the top and giant oil leaks at the bottom. All right? So, what else are we going to talk about here? Let's try to get back here. So this piece here is on both sides. It's a heat protection foam. All right? I cut it. I'm going to put it back. It's not a big deal. It does its job with the small cut. All right, people, that's what's hiding underneath that foam cover. And it looks like a silicone piece of coolant hose. It could be EPDM. I don't know. I've ordered 2 new ones. They weren't too expensive. But they've done the same thing that they did on this piece here. If you guys will have watched that video, you'll know that they put the clamps from the factory in a way that a mechanic cannot take them off. This is an even more terrible spot, okay? And guess what? They install this engine all together in the factory, and then they put it in with the clamps facing downwards. You can't access them from the bottom, can't access them from the top. Remote hose clamp pliers would work here, but you guys know the fate of my set of remote hose clamp pliers, so I might buy another one if I need it, but I'm going to make my life way easier and just cut it and try to take them both off with pliers because I'm buying new hoses anyways. Now, what else is crazy? We probably can't even see it from here, but on that same crossover pipe back there, at the bottom is what on the Audi Etka diagram is called a coolant temperature sender. I don't know if it's a temperature sensor or sender or whatever it is, but it's at the bottom of there. So if you are a person that thinks you're just going to take this to the dealer, be sure that they're, for most things, going to say it's engine out, or they won't even do it or something like that. Because all of this stuff, this crazy job that I'm about to do, would have to come out again to do that. There's nothing wrong with it, and these cars don't have many common faults. Like, these sensors can work for the lifetime of the car. For some people, they fail at 30,000 miles. You can do them, you don't have to do them. So that's just your choice how much stuff you want to do. Now, the SAI stuff, the correct thing to do at this stage is to completely get rid of it. Okay, all this stuff, all those lines, it's just less complexity at the back. I am going to reinstall them though, because, so see, that's the SAI, still I didn't research the name, the accumulator, the whatever the F they're called. There's 2 of them back there, and there's lines. Just take up a lot of space. Now the thing with that is you'd have to get a tune at that point. There are block-off plates available for it, but the tunes allow you, I think, to rev up to like 8,700 RPM. And I'm not comfortable doing that with this car yet, with the unknown all other engine internals for this car. And I know I won't control myself, and I'll use it and I might blow it up, and then I'll be one of those bad cases on YouTube of, okay, let's never buy RS4s. Alright, so we're not tuning it, we're putting the SAI back. I'm going to pull the rear covers. I'll have an update for you guys when I do all this stuff. And yeah, all that plastic back there's brittle. You have to be very careful. I hope nothing goes wrong, but you guys will see in the next video what ends up happening when we go over stuff. More detective stuff. So you see those lines on the those little red dots all over the fuel system, the fuel rail, injector inputs, everything. I have them on both sides. Okay, you can see some more of them there on that banjo nut bolt, whatever, in that bolt. Now what I discovered, and again, I mean, I've promised injector video for a long time, telling you guys my experiences with Audi direct injectors and how some people make a big deal over them failing and not. On this car, if you really don't know, yeah, do change the injectors anytime you have the manifold off. The reason I'm still not going to do it is, again, I have those markings. People spend money on these things. Other people have probably changed a lot of stuff that I don't want to redo for no reason. Parts are becoming more scarce. It's just the reality. But in my case, you guys remember the treasures we found behind the oil filter housing gasket. That is an injector O-ring, the blue one. So this car has had injector work done in the past, and someone probably dropped one of the O-rings in the back. Maybe one injector was changed, maybe all 8 were changed and the markings were made. So, I mean, it's a gamble on my part, but again, I'll tell you my injector opinions in the future. Yeah, that's all I can say. At least one injector has been touched on this car. In terms of the oil filter housing, everyone's always making a big deal of the number 8 gasket, which is the one that fails, but when you reinstall it, you see what was hiding there that I didn't see? I put this in my order. There's another O-ring there. So there's 2, the number 8 and this whenever you're doing the oil filter housing. Don't just get the number 8 one. And the other main thing that I'm doing for the rear timing cover seals, again, there's going to be a lot of cleanup on the bottom, oil cleanup wise. But I'm using anaerobic sealant, and I'm going to try to use a foam roller to apply it. Okay, I don't want to use RTV. Benefits of anaerobic, you can go read about it and research it if you want. But just to give you guys who are more skeptical some why it's fine, everything on that Volvo 5-cylinder, on every Volvo 5-cylinder is anaerobic. All the way down, oil pan, middle, cylinder head, all of it is machined, and Volvo actually sells a part which is a foam roller that I'll tell you guys if I end up buying from Amazon or if I get the actual Volvo one. Again, it's not price. Being in Canada, the most annoying part is customs and shipping. That's the pain of trying to do anything in Canada with like a classic-ish car or an expensive parts, rare parts car. It's just a pain when you go on a US website and you want to order something. Yeah, if I was in the States, I'd probably get a new PCV box. I'd probably get new this, aftermarket, this, that. So those of you in the States, take that as a blessing that you guys can order things and get them quickly and there's no stupid customs charges and ridiculous taxes on everything you do. Enough of my ranting. I told you guys pretty much what I'm going to do. There's definitely going to be gotchas in this job. And let's see how much more I tear it down and what new discoveries we make. This is what it is. Alright, so I'll have an update for you guys soon. And for those of you that continue to watch, thanks for watching.